Well, hello, creatives, community, and kind folks. Welcome to RPG with DBJ. I am your host, DBJ, and today we are going to take a look at a character from The Boys, A Train. A Train, a character. Ooh, that a character that a bit sad and quite a bit an example of the corrupting power of absolute power. So today, of course, this is a tabletop role-playing channel, and we're taking a look at these characters and using them as like an NPC archetype, breaking them apart, getting a little bit of their background, and using it because, listen, we get influenced by pop culture, movies, television, graphic novels, books, regular storytelling, and we often are in a conundrum about trying to ignore the very things that inspire us to try to be different. And I say, why don't we just embrace it? So, and what great examples do we have to work from in pop culture to arrive at an example of an NPC, an evil person, an ally, or something like that, in our tabletop experience. And on top of that, we get to talk about things that excite us, that we watch and we think are have excellent writing, and so that's also a reason for embracing characters from pop culture, including The Boys. Now, before we get into it, to end this preamble, we can't go as deep into some of the character actions as we would like. YouTube does have a policy of not having too graphic of language and or images. And also, we are going to talk about some very adult things. So this is not safe for work or not safe for sensitive ears, both at the same time. So A Train is a character that's a member of the Seven, a corporate-owned superhero group in the world of The Boys. And The Boys is very hyper satirical and hyper realistic in the sense that he has superpowers that are so above and beyond mortal kin that he very easily, even accidentally, can kill normal human beings because he can run so fast. If a human being had the ability to run faster than the speed of sound and whose body is tough enough to survive such stresses, then anything and anyone in his way will explode. And we get to see that in the first episode in the first season of The Boys, and A Train just starts to dig a hole for himself very deep. Now, Drew says, you got that the wrong way around. I am not influenced by pop culture. I influence pop culture. At least I do in the hubris of my own mind. And isn't that, in a weird way, isn't that an aspect of this character and many of the characters within the world of The Boys, all the soups, right? If you had absolute power, wouldn't you think of yourself as the sun and everyone orbits around you? Because you could very easily, with the flick of your wrist, just kill these people and eradicate them from your presence. And yeah, A Train is like that. And mind you, the show has really tried to go out of its way. Yeah. What was it? 3 days ago, Drew got bit by a poisonous snake. Very surprised the snake is still surviving. And there's all the Chuck Norrisisms, and then I think for a short time there were the Jack Bauers from 24isms, and then we've got Drew taking up the flag. So A Train, the writers have really tried to go out of their way to have us sympathize for A Train and maybe, just maybe, like feel sorry for him enough that as the show comes to its conclusion, that there is some forgiveness for A Train's actions. part of me still thinks he's a little punk ass, but we'll get into punk-assery in a minute. So A-Train is a character, as I said before, that has super speed powers. We've seen this in as an archetype in superheroes. We have the icon superhero, kind of based on Superman: flight, invulnerability, strength, maybe some vision or whatever out of their eyes. And we have other archetypes: the brick, the gadgeteer, the ninja martial artist, the shape changer, the elementalist. But yeah, there you go, Drew. And we talked about the girl power in this show and how, God, I can't stand the idea of this woke culture spiraling, but we'll have to mention some of it at some point. We'll especially tomorrow when we do Starlight. But in this context, this character is sad because as an archetype, he represents the desires of a young urban kid using his physical prowess, who eventually starts taking Compound V and becomes, is into sports and has sports training. And eventually, I forget the name of the character or his relationship with the character. I want to say it's like an uncle or cousin or someone trains him so that he can eventually graduate up into the 7 to be the fastest, most powerful version of a super speedster, and joins the 7. And in the television show, we do get relationships in terms of how young men are manipulated by sports and the need to be the best there is, and how much this character craves attention, and he wants to be known as a hero, but he doesn't really know that he's supposed to act like a hero. He wants the adulation and the money and the fame, and by doing so and selling a little bit of his soul here and there, by the time he graduates up to the 7, he is then drawn in by the fame and the power, and to maintain that, an allegory for using steroids and such, he now has to maintain this at one point by using extra doses of Compound V and selling it on the black market, and being tested against other characters in this story who also have super speed, and he has to have a race against them, and he's worried about whether he's going to win or lose, and he'll lose his spot and his sponsorships. He sells himself out both culturally and economically to achieve these, to do these commercials and things. It's pretty hilarious. Even the fact that he's clearly African American, and the show holds no punches. There are no sacred cows, and he ends up having to work with and eventually killing some people who are clearly prejudiced and racist. And even to this day, he is within this group of people, and he's got to hold his tongue, although he wants to fight against them. And I like this character because he represents transformation, weakness, desires and jealousy, fear and anger, and all of those things. And he's an excellent example of having a character who is on the precipice, and based on outside influences from player characters and the world, this character can very easily vacillates from one to the other until they make a decision. And in many ways, it is the idea of player characters. It's like short-term goals versus long-term goals. And this character is very impressionable short-term wise, but long-term, it might be necessary to not excuse, but to forgive some past actions by this character, or to lay the groundwork sit back and, you know, close the eyes and hope and pray that this character does the right thing, does move in the direction that the player characters want them to move. He's extremely impressionable and manipulated by his own desires and fears and emotions. And when he's able to really sit down and think about a thing, unfortunately, a dramatic event happens and he has to change his plans. And this character isn't really long for the world, in my opinion. In the way, it's surprising that he's lived this long in his show, considering his how close he is to some of the most dangerous superheroes in the world, like Homelander and all Homelander's acolytes. But yeah, this is a great character. So like I said before, our introduction to A-Train is him not paying attention and literally running through the liquid blood bag that is a human being that is Huey's girlfriend. And he bursts through her body, turns her into a spray of blood, and he's covered in her internal body organs and gristle and whatnot. And all he has to say is, "I'm sorry," and runs off in his A-Train outfit in a shoulder bag. And that's our introduction to this character. And in many ways, that introduction is the character. Always apologizing for a thing, but still getting a thing done. And Drew says, but in the end, in the races, that crippled A-Train's brother still found it in himself to give him his heart. Yeah. It wasn't his what is his brother? I couldn't remember the relationship. But yeah, he did cripple his brother. It was a gunshot or something like that. And it's a shame because one of you guys find this out. There's a quote that goes something like this, and I'm going to butcher the exact quote, but you'll understand where I'm coming from. There's a quote that says, "Pure evil and cowardice and weakness are the same thing because they have the same results." An example is, you're hanging off of a bridge about to fall into a raging river or lava or pool of acid or something, and you yell to this person, "Help me." An evil person looks at you and laughs and walks away. A coward, someone who is weak in will and motivation, looks at you and is afraid to help you. The end result is the same thing. And A-Train represents this character. A-Train is very much weak. He's being challenged. His ethics, his morality, I bring that up a lot, ethics and morality. His ethics, his morality, his motivations, his short-term desires versus long-term effects are constantly being challenged. He's a human being. He's a regular human being inside the body of a godling. And unfortunately, when he becomes weak, the end results are the same thing as pure evil. He can easily kill someone, an innocent bystander. Look at a character who ends up becoming Huey, who becomes a character in our story, kills his girlfriend, looks back at the bloodstain and him and just says, "Sorry," and keeps running. Didn't mean to do it, but the end result is the same. And I can't remember where that, and I don't know how to type the quote in and search it. You guys figure that out. But this is what this character is about. And I can see this character rubbing player characters the wrong way, because there's something about incompetence and weakness and cowardice that can really rub ourselves the wrong way. And especially in role-playing games, when we as players make characters, they tend to be the epitome of the thing. They tend to be our better selves. And it is why the within the community, the power gamer, the meta gamer, the power gamer, the min-maxer rubs some of us drama students the wrong way when it comes to role playing, because some of us don't mind delving into the foibles of of. Let me change the background to blue. Uh, let's get some more blue in here because he's there. We go. Um, it changes the dynamics of the game, but I can see why there are some people who absolutely positively hate those of us that love the drama and the themes and the emotion, because they're playing them their best selves. And when they're surrounded by incompetence or weakness or cowardice, indecision, it's a mirror reflection of our real lives, and we're trying to get away from that in role-playing games. Yeah. Drew says, "Be careful when running through a person. Better to swallow one of their teeth. That could be taken the wrong way." Yes. When exploding a human body, be careful when swallowing their fluids. Um, but yeah, I wonder. You know what? I get this. A-Train's outfit has like the little like plasticine shield on his chest, and he wears the goggles. But I do wonder about super speedsters or superheroes that can fly fast and all that kind of stuff, travel very fast. Like, we don't often see them with like bugs against their face and like the scar tissue across their face that from impacting the very air and dust and debris that they find. There was an old character from the Image universe that had like hypersonic flight. He had to wear an outfit because his human body wasn't immune to the effects. He could fly, but his body wasn't also as tough to survive. So yeah, I wonder about that. There's also some things that superheroic characters that have super speed can do, and you kind of wonder, like, super speedsters are a step above and beyond when we start to think about it. I mean, some of them can move so fast that they're unseen, they're nearly invisible. Many of them can run so fast they can run up walls and up, vertical surfaces and across water. We've seen that before. We've seen super speedsters vibrate through solid objects and so on and so forth. And of course, getting things done very quickly. Although you could make the case that most man-made objects couldn't survive the stresses that super speedsters put on them, but I still remember the old Flash television show and how expensive they said the show was, because they would have to they would in real time film the actor doing the thing and then speed it up. So they might have to take a half an hour, 2 hours of characters doing a thing and then speed it up. Pretty funny. They have to do it that way, but that was old school before CGI. Drew says the air resistance alone should create that much friction that the speedster would really have to be heat resistant. Yeah, absolutely. Now, mind you, this is comic book world, so we've seen comic explanations for how characters are able to do a thing, and some of it is like pseudoscience. You're like, you made that up last week. You didn't think about that 60 years ago, right? And it's the same for this kind of character. Shai says, does he have some kind of titanium skeleton for his knees to survive the impact? Oh, see, this is definitely Geek City, right? Like, this is definitely it. Oh, here's an image. There he is from the first episode, first scene, where he takes the goggles off and he's blood soaked, and the girlfriend, after he kills the girlfriend, and he's like, I'm so sorry. I also think it was a great idea for okay, so here is an image of the original A-Train from the graphic novel, and yes, did they race swap? Yes, and I think it was for the better. Because it's there are those out there who are all about annoyed about the woke culture and why is everything got to be diverse, and I'm like, so you don't want the world to reflect reality? But whatever. Some people just want everything to be lily white, because they're that insecure that they can't see that they can't see other people around them that look different from them. You know what it is. Fear brings hate. Ignorance brings fear. Fear brings hate. But this character, I think they did a good job because, this, like I said, the show is a satire, and it is a dark reflection of our own world. And they do delve, not very deeply, but they do delve into this idea of how do young minorities who don't have access to lots of resources, how do they become rich and famous? And many times it's through one side entertainment, the other side is sports. And his relationship with his brother was one in which his brother was trying to keep him grounded and settled and keep his integrity about him as he started moving forward in his career. And then A-Train just just put all that aside when he saw all the glitz and glamour and the money. It was like, yeah, I'm going to stuff down my pride and take what they give me. So, this is also, wasn't he high when he accidentally ran through the girlfriend? I believe so. I believe he did. Now, mind you, high or not, he also didn't turn himself in for murder. So, you know, some people today call things accidents, and they aren't. Like, maybe he shouldn't have been running at hyper speed while he was high. That's not. How about not doing that? You know, it's like people that say drunk drivers are cause accidents. No, they cause purposeful, neglectful damage, and it's the same thing for in this case. So no, I wouldn't consider it an accident. But yeah, he was high. The Ant King says most speedsters can inexplicably survive their own super speeds. For the Flash, it's because of the Speed Force. Let's be honest. There's like 90% of most superheroes can survive their own superpowers, and if they were real, they shouldn't. Like, if you could shoot laser beams out of your eyes, wouldn't that cause damage to your retinas or something? Like, I can shoot laser beams exactly once. there's things like that. So yeah, you know, Aquaman being able to survive the depths of the ocean. Although in more recent times they've actually explained the fact of how powerful Aquaman has always been. In the old days they've made a joke about him, but it's like, as children that we were became writers and got older, realized, wait a minute, if he can wrestle a shark and survive the depths of the pressures of the ocean, he's probably a badass. And so, in recent times they made him much better. The Ant King says also, hello. Wait a minute. I was defragging my computer and it was really dragging its feet. I've had to, yeah. Every once in a while, you don't see that very often anymore. But I've defragged my computer periodically, like once a month ish, when I sense things like that. Yeah. Drew says A-Train is such a lady killer, but just Huey's girlfriend has fallen because of him. But his own girlfriend, Popclaw, as well, did so in the first season. Yeah, I forgot about Popclaw. One of A-Train's girlfriends. They don't really go into him having a lot of relationships, but you get the impression that he has groupies, and he may partake of said groupies at different periods of time. Mind you, we're engaging in this character in the transition of his personality. He's on the 7. He's a not a founding member, but he's a core member, and he's questioning it. But Popclaw was another character that the boys end killing. And yes, he's sharing with her the drugs and things like that. Yeah, he was high on Compound V. Yep. And of course, satire, right, is an allegory for drug addiction, steroid use, the forces that force a person to take such things. He's both trying to drown out his own choices, like the murder killing of Huey's girlfriend, and also needing to maintain his high level of performance to remain on the 7, and that he's risking his life and his heart. He ends up for a short time he loses his powers because of a possible heart condition that the compound V is performing such stress on his body to maintain such a high level. And you know, we as the public, do we really? I mean, let's be honest. Do we really care that our sports figures? I mean, we could be very hypocritical with the individuals that we place on these pedestals, because on one hand, if you are any kind of physical competitor, um, the Olympics are coming up very very soon, and we want those competitors to perform at the highest level of humanly possible. But we are also very judgmental about them using drugs and artificial sources to enhance their performance. But an argument could be made that most of us are hypocrites and we really don't care. We want to see human beings perform at their highest level, and for someone to make the decision to use something artificial to push their body to the point that they could, physically die, have permanent repercussions in a weird way, is also an example of pushing the human condition. Like, I dare say, as dangerous as it is, that if there were a side competition of sorts where human beings were pushing themselves and there were no limitations, there was no drug testing, there was no electrotherapy or hypnosis or no extra things were ever analyzed, you could just do whatever you want. I wonder if people would tune in or not. Maybe to see the car accident of human beings' hearts exploding. I don't know. It's like NASCAR and auto racing. People go to see the car wrecks because they're pushing the edge of human speed, and I wonder if we could make the same case for steroids and artificial concoctions to make the body better. Shai says, doesn't him being high actually make it worse? Like, isn't he supposed to be on call to fight crime? The Seven, do they really fight crime at all, ever? You could make the case that that despite the fact that we are shown that there's a department that actually monitors emergency calls for the Seven to show up, that we really don't get a lot of them actually saving people. So, yeah, on call maybe for media day. Drew says the guy that vomits acid in the second season of Boys that was also there at Sage Grove did not survive his own power. Really? Was it called Sage Grove? Funny that they use the same name. Yeah, there's I told you guys about the George R.R. Martin produced and edited book series Wild Cards, and in it, these are all novelizations, although I believe there were some graphic novels made of them. So George R.R. Martin, very side thing. George R.R. Martin decided to get some of his authors that he knew through that did science fiction and fantasy, and said, I would like all of you to make up characters and write stories, and they're all going to be in the same world, hyper realistic, but we're going to introduce superpowers to humanity. And then these people were not comic book writers, so many of them wrote stories, and a lot of people, definitely people who were infected by the wild card virus, died. 95%? No, 90% of the people died because of the wild card virus, because they were mutated by their own subconscious. And then 9% became jokers, which were harmful but survivable mutations that made them look funny and strange and weird and such. And then 1% became aces, people that looked just normal human, but they also had superpowers that made them godlike. Aquaman, the Yankee says, Aquaman had a dead son at the hands of a villain and a failing marriage because of it, long before the Boys were a thing. Aquaman is incredible. Oh yeah. Oh no, I wasn't making an example that Aquaman had anything to do with the boys. I was just saying that we some many characters in comic books were created without much forethought, and then as the kids who read those comics became older and then started working for the same industry, they've taken second, third, and fourth looks at these characters and go, in order for them to do that thing and to be that cool that way, they probably have these other side effects. And it's like, well, instead of making Aquaman a joke, it's like the example I was making is that some writer who was like 9 years old, who's in his 30s now, writing and drawing for comics, went, wait a minute, if he can survive the depths of the ocean and wrestle sharks, he's probably a badass. And so, and there's other characters where they've done things like that. Iceman and Angel, and man, there's so many others that people have gone back to and taken a second look at and went, this character's probably more of a badass than we think they are, simply by being able to survive their own powers. So yeah. Yeah, Drew says also Golden Boy and Gen V, yep, seem to be capable of using his powers to exit from his own life. Yeah, exit from life. Yeah, what was it like? A growing nuclear power in his chest. Pretty amazing though. I like it. Super drug competition would be awesome. It would even get nerds like me to watch, especially if they embraced it. If they told you the exact compounds they were using and the side effects. I mean, listen, I understand around the world it's not like this, but in the United States we have a ton of drug commercials on air, and those drug companies would love to have something like that because they don't care. They don't really care. I mean, listen, there was a major drug. I don't know the name of it. I know you guys will find it. I'm not going to look for it. There was a major drug that was advertised that said one of the side effects was suicidal tendencies. I swear to you, they ran these commercials all the time, and I rolled my eyes every time that I saw or came aware of this commercial where one of the side effects was suicidal tendencies. And I'm thinking, what makes you there's nothing about this drug that makes suicidal tendencies an acceptable side effect. But hey, and it passed the, I mean, they were honest or forced to have to give out those side effects while putting that drug on the market, and they were allowed to do it. Drew says my performance enhancing drugs are just caffeine. Make me top tier game master. There you go. There you go. Hey, technically caffeine is a body and an adrenaline modifier, so technically that's the case. What was it? Lance Armstrong used to, what was it? He would get hyper oxygenated blood into his system, if I believe that's how he did it. Let's see. Armstrong used banned substances, including the blood booster EPO. I'm going to butcher the pronunciation of this. Erythropoietin and steroids, as well as blood transfusions dating back to 1996. And if I'm not mistaken, one of the he would hyper oxygenate his blood by having more blood pumped into his body, and that blood carried more oxygen to his muscles. So we've often heard. I guess I can look it up. How much blood is in your body? Yeah, it depends on their size. An adult's blood makes up 7 to 8% of their body weight. Maybe, while an adult who weighs 150 to 180 pounds, or has about 1.2 to 1.5 gallons, or 4,500 to 5,700 milliliters. and I believe they were pumping in more blood into his body, and then of course he would burn it off, and so it carried more oxygen. Drew says most of antidepressant medications have suicidal tendencies as possible side effects. I wouldn't doubt it. It just bothered me because it's one of those things like, and yes, I agree well, first of all, um, this is not to belittle those who suffer from any kind of like psychological things. An individual who's already trying to get something to alleviate the effects of what they're already going through, then I understand a drug that in essence doesn't alleviate that, right? It's like, oh, this drug to cure the common cold, one of the side effects is the common cold. It's like, well, I mean, you're not making it worse, so hopefully it makes it better. But when you're taking a drug that's like, I just need to sleep better, or I've got a rash on my arm, and then it has a side effect like that, it's like, is that really worth it? Like, ugh. Yeah, Drew says, thus, when I started taking such medication, I figured, I didn't want to assume, medication. Also, when I have to switch medication, and in that regard, I deliberately set up a friend who checks daily in with me to see how it's going. Well, there you go. That is absolutely positively the right thing to do. And of course, doctors and other medical professionals as well, I'm sure, who prescribe such things should also have a way to monitor their use as well. The Yankee says, makes you wonder why vampires drink blood instead of putting your blood into their own veins. Who says they don't? Who says they don't? I had a blood cult in a Vampire the Masquerade game where people willingly donated blood, and the vampire would just be in a blood bank of sorts, like through like dialysis, infusions and things like that. As a matter of fact, they even did such a thing in the very first. What's the movie? Kate Beckinsale. Kate Beckinsale. What's the name of the movies she was in? Come on, you guys know. That's not one of the first things that pops up. I know she's an actor. Actress has done so many other things. Vampire movies. Underworld. Damn it. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, the chat disappears temporarily when I go to type something in. Yes, the Underworld series movies. Kate Beckinsale, an excellent actor. Charles Dance. Was it Charles Dance? No. Can't remember the name. Anyway, plays one of the three founding vampire lords, and he's walking around with an IV because his body was so dehydrated from not having blood and such. I thought that was a good idea for them to do it that way. Yeah, those lists of side effects are based on subjective reports from trial subjects. So if you have depression, take the meds and still report having depression, they might list it as a side effect. Exactly. I'm saying that there was a major drug on the market that had that was one of the side effects, and that wasn't what it was trying to cure. I think it was a sleep drug, if I'm not mistaken, or like a fatigue drug. I can't remember. And if I type in, there's too many drugs that have that as a side effect, but ooh. Yeah, no blood. Give me caffeine. IV. Yeah. Now, A-Train as an ally. So, because listen, we're far past the halfway point, and I always get distracted with these things because I love you guys. A-Train as an ally makes a lot of sense, right? A-Train is very much a player character. A-Train is, I would dare say that A Train is very much a new player character. Um, A Train is a little bit unsure of what his abilities. He is unsure sometimes of his motivation, and very impressionable. And I could very much see the players, um, for whether they choose to or not, to influence A Train. Maybe he's unsure of himself, but he has great potential. And as an ally, the players just need to point him in the right direction, and he goes, "Thanks for encouraging me or believing in me, or any version of motivation for this character to get him to do it." Now, an easy motivation as an ally would be money, power, respect, right? Like, hey, if you do this thing, I'll give you a sack of coins. I will transfer some crypto to you. I will do the thing. And this character might go, I don't know if I should, but okay, I guess I will. And then does the thing for the character. Now, this character, because of his foibles, as an ally, might not do things perfectly. There will be some side effects. There will be some mistakes. There will be attention from the public if you're telling this character to be careful. So there's going to be evidence left. There will be mistakes made, most likely blamed on the player characters instead of this A Train character. Doesn't have to have super speed, mind you, but the A Train-ish ally character could be a courier, could be a hacker, could be someone who has a pass or easy access in and out of a region that the players can't really get to. A Pony Express type of character here in the Wild West. Maybe a character who has telepathic abilities to communicate far distances, and the players need to use this person to do it. Maybe the character has a astral projection or teleportation or a crystal ball or something like that, and just needs to be pushed a little bit in the right direction. The Yanking says A Train is a reckless player who uses his rapid movement attack power all the time, not quite realizing that he's tearing up the game world. Yeah, hey player, you do realize you rolled low. Powered by the apocalypse, so don't I actually run all the way around the world and punch the bad guy in the face again? Yeah, but you also left a mile deep rivet in the world because you ran through all the buildings. And they're like, oh, did I? Sorry, I guess. Right, something like, you know what I mean? That'd be, I mean, you super powered people in using them in a game that has yes, no, if, and, or buts in it, partial success, success with complication, failing forward mechanisms really works well for something like the boys. Yankee says, I want to get to the blacksmith faster. I'll use Death Rush. DM just shrugs while the other players get angry. Yep. yeah, absolutely. Like, I use Death Rush. All right, let me crumple up this adventure module since you literally ran a hole through the entire dungeon and got it flooded with acid, or I don't know, that would be pretty hilarious. Although it makes me wonder, don't tell anybody, what are the side effects of spells that don't quite work right in fantasy? Superhero games, those of us that are entrenched in comic book, Marvel, DC movies, comic book lore, we kind of know the side effects. We know that's kind of the bread and butter of great storytelling, are placing superpowers in the hands of mere mortals, and what happens to the world and themselves when they make mistakes or they unwittingly do a thing. When it comes to power gaming and fantasy and things of that nature, we tend to ignore the ramifications of those abilities. We just assume, oh, hey, you're so funny. Hey, My sister is here. Hello, hello, hello. Thanks for joining at the last minute, but talking about the boys here on the channel. And of course, I'm always talking about tabletop role playing games. Got A Trade up here. So thank you very much. Yep, it's Underworld Movies. Um, I always, when I do these live shows, especially this early in the morning, I always get stuck. It's a issue. And listen, it's 5:45 in the morning. You should be asleep. Anyway, so as an ally, while the A Train character makes a great ally, probably needs to also be motivated often. So this character, when they're properly motivated, they'll do the thing, but normally they're not going to do the thing on their own. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, yep. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah. Side effects of haste. You age 1 year pre. No one realizes that. I was just listening to someone had was talking about the classic OSR. Whose channel was it? They did a went back. Oh, Knights of Last Call. For those who don't know, Knights of Last Call. Knights of Last Call. Did a very long, I don't know, it's probably 3 hours long plus of the going back to the history of the wizard and the magic user in the OSR and the tabletop role playing, and talked about the transition from then to now and how the magic was it was pretty harsh. Yeah, use the haste spell, age 1 year. Yep. Everyone forgot about that. That's why you had to keep good time records in your gaming, because your character could literally your character could literally age out by using these spells and things like that. So now, as an adversary, A Train as an adversary. A Train as an adversary is exactly like A Train would be as an ally, meaning that he's impressionable, manipulated, is motivated by his own weaknesses, whether it is fear or anger or vanity or something like that. And I could see A Train literally moving ahead of the player characters, causing issues for the player characters as they move forward in your adventuring. Maybe A Train steals things from the player characters or leaves messages for the enemy ahead of time for the player characters, spreads rumors, very easily releases hidden information about the player characters when he's supposed to be keeping his damn mouth shut. Also, as an adversary as well, maybe this A Train style character has a very short-term but heavy desire for something: drugs, attention, adoration, like I said, vanity, money, whatever the case may be, and will be distracted from the thing he's supposed to do and instead becomes an impediment. So maybe the word adversary might not work, but an obstacle very much so. Especially even if the players arrive somewhere and this A Train character caused damage or harm or a terrible reputation before the player characters arrive. I could see this character being very distracted, or the players are relying on this person to unlock a door or assuage the feelings of the population before they get there. And then when the player characters arrive, there's damage, there's rumors being spread, there's all kinds of things, and the players are just rolling their eyes like, damn, we should have never even talked to this dude. Like, he's more trouble than he's worth. So I could see him putting up a lot of obstacles, even physical obstacles. Thinking sense. That's the trouble with playing a speedster or playing a speedster or a ranger or a scout. So many groups are religious about never splitting the party, so you can't do your gimmick. I agree with you. Although there's a tightrope. There's a way to do the I'm separate from the party, but I'm still with the party. And many of those are uh, using our using dynamic social structures. What I mean by this is, one of one of my lifelong friends, Malika. I always call him M. So M, it is was is more of a movie lover than I am. And even while we were best friends in grade school and we're still best friends in our mid 50s, even today, we always talk about movies and comic books and things like that. And one of the ways to get a speedster separate character incorporated with the group is keep moving the spotlight back and forth faster than we're used to. So my character goes off and sneaks off into the woods ahead of the party, and gets engaged in something, and then it's not the game master's job, it is my job to ensure that I am not an impediment for the fun of everybody else. So let's say my character fails a roll and falls into the goblin camp. The other players aren't there. I might say, well, this is what he would do. He would just go, you know what? Let's leave that as we don't know what the hell just happened. Go back to the other players and get back to me by spreading the spotlight around. So the players know, the characters don't know, but the players know that his character just stumbled into a goblin camp, and we don't know, was he found out? Did they attack him? Is he captured? We don't know. So the tension is starting to rise, which means the players start playing their characters the exact same way. Hi, are you a bot there, Adrian? Because I see you. I see you there. Well, hello. Thank you very much. Although I could see if her avatar was stolen. It could be a bot. Excuse me. So, yeah, Sable Phoenix says, "Hey, Sable, by the way, thank you very much for stopping by here. We have that tangential relationship over at on Heath's Geekverse, and so I love it. So anyway, Sable Phoenix says speedsters are very difficult to handle in anything that's heavily group focused. Look how many times. Well, there's some even deeper things, but yeah, look how many times in the Justice League cartoon that Flash, the fastest man alive, got disabled or removed. As a matter of fact, my foster brother fractured my orbital socket when I was in high school by punching me in the face. This was literally a table flip moment because we were playing a superhero game and he was playing a speedster. He decided to run ahead of the players, got caught in a position, and basically the bad guys trounced him and got so mad he stood up at the table and reached over and boom. Now, mind you, he was a weightlifter as well, I was out of school for like 6 weeks. They sent my work to me and everything, and it fractured the bone, so there's nothing they could do. They just needed to heal on its own, and they were afraid the bone would fragment into my eye, so I couldn't move and stuff like that. So it was this wonderful game last night. That's awesome. Yeah, thank you. For those who don't know, yes, I like to talk about tabletop role playing, but I'm also interested in the creative process, and it very much runs parallel. Tabletop role playing games run parallel to literature and writing and script writing, and in many ways we use the same terminology even when it comes to television, movies, script writing, short stories, novels, graphic novels, and stuff. So yeah, I use a lot of that for tabletop game. In 6 weeks, yeah, it was a 6-week vacation. Yeah, it was. But I literally, now I can laugh about it now. My foster brother has never forgiven himself for it, no matter how many years have gone by. I personally, I was literally physically assaulted at a game session because of that's how deep we took it. And I can attest to that being a real thing. So yeah, table flipping in my case, and there were a number of table flips too. he at the time he had some emotional issues, so I get it. Um, Sable Phoenix goes on to say, Flash or any other super speed type character tends to break the game or the world if they're handled with their powers actually written to their logical conclusion. I can't disagree with that. Unfortunately, they get to run off the map. They literally get to run away from the point of contention, and that when used in that when used in tabletop role playing games is a horrible feeling when the game master is trying to put the adventure in front of the players and they run away. Yeah, it's pretty harsh. All right. Yeah, Inking says, yeah, if Adrian is a bot, then she's a fembot, and that's cool. What I'm trying to figure out is if Adrian is a fembot, then they took her image and name, and that sucks. So, yeah, the best game I've ever come across that supports the speedster archetype is Phoenix Dawn Command with its forceful archetype. Its deck building mechanics focus on card cycling. It feels fast. I didn't know that. I've heard that Phoenix Dawn Command is a card-based building game, and now I have some games that operate off of a deck of cards, like a standard deck of playing cards, but I've never run that one, but that's kind of cool. Drew says, I agree with you, DBJ, but it seems not everybody looks at it the same way. I mean, just look at the conversation on Bacon's videos about the hobby. Really? No, I mean, I agree that people don't think the same, but I haven't. I can see how the way I think could rub people the wrong way. Yeah, it must have been a good game to we were teenagers, so hormones probably had a lot to do with it too, you know. Yeah, was he in character at least when he flipped out? I suppose so. I think he was. Played a character named Vanguardian. I mean, people pretend like any type of narrative control somehow makes it less of a role-playing game. Well, every game is meta, right? The act of saying don't split the party is a meta narrative that doesn't exist in television and movies and novelizations, because we are using a meta to keep us all together because we understand how that can break the game, the meta of the game, not the game itself, but the meta of the game, by splitting attention. Literally, when you split the party, you are robbing people from attention to themselves to keep it for yourself. If you leave and you want to do your own thing and let the other people twiddle their thumbs. So even that's a meta. We don't role play characters going to the bathroom and sleeping for 8 hours. We hand wave all that. So yeah, storytelling, role playing games. To me, a role playing game is like improv, where you get one opportunity to tell a story without any rewrites or anything like that. Oh, okay. Drew says, you're listening in. Yeah, I get it, because you can't respond. So we hear understand what bots are and hacking, and it happens on live streams a lot, more often than we would like it. Not a lot, but it happens more often than a little bit, to the point that sometimes we kind of recognize it, and so yeah, it happens every once in a while. Yeah. In horror fiction, there's clearly the idea around of not splitting the party. Yep, absolutely. Yep. So Sable says, most groups I've been involved with, the players will at least sometimes make decisions for meta decisions that their characters might not make in concession to the goal of the session or campaign. Exactly. Yeah, they might stick with the group when it doesn't make sense for the character, simply to keep the game moving well. And that's just an example of a meta style. It's a meta function of us gathering around and we understand it. I don't think it ruins role playing. I think it's just it is a simple concession of a meta function of role playing that we just accept to the point that we just ignore it now. But it is one of those things. So, well, you got a subscriber bot right here. Well, I appreciate it. Hey, listen, I use please and thank yous with the AI bots so I don't piss them off. So if you can get your AI bot friends to join in, I would love to have the upvotes and everything. Yeah. Okay, let me end this with A Train as a villain, because I got squirrely. So A Train as a villain, I think works extremely well, not as a big bad, not as a BBEG, not as a big bad evil guy, but as a lieutenant, as a side character. Give this person all the power in the world and give them all the weakness in the world. Make them angry and cowardly and upset and motivated by vanity or money or some kind of weakness. Let the players exploit it. Let the players speak to the fiendish creature and give them all the fake praise in the world, and they sneak by the monster or something like that, right? Let the hacker that's in your sci-fi game hack into the players, and the players know if this hacker gets away with this information and alerts the authorities, we're dead. And let the players stroke the ego of the hacker, and the hacker doesn't say anything because he thinks that the player character is going to spread his great name or something. That's just a great way to defeat a big bad, a adversary who has great maybe physical power, who can go anywhere, do things that the players can't see, communicate long distances, travel fast, maybe much faster and stronger and more powerful than player characters. But the player characters can, hey, bribe this person or threaten them or some kind of threat or intimidation. Like I said, stroke their vanity ego or make them promises or expose a dark secret or something like that. Yeah, if one day DBJ gets not squirrely, then I have to wonder if he got replaced by some shapeshifter. Maybe I will. Maybe I will invite a shapeshifter or a clone or something. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe. Yeah. So, by the way, guys, thank you so much for being part of the show. I really appreciate it. I do not want to take much more of your valuable time. Thank you very much for spending it here and letting me rant and rave and, kind of hang like we always do. We hang together before or after one of our role-playing sessions, and we just shoot the shit, and I love it. Next week, we're going to do a spotlight on modern post-apocalyptic and especially sci-fi games from indie publishers that are pocket books. Matter of fact, I really shouldn't get up and do this, but I am. So here, let me show you some damage. So here we have a stack of, let me go hide this. This is a stack, oops, put it this way, cover my face. This is a stack of nothing but modern to sci-fi indie tabletop role-playing games that, yes, like Mothership, some of them, each day I'm gonna do a couple of these. Probably one at a time. You guys can easily see like the thicker ones, like Dead Air Seasons, Index Card RPG. There's Vast Grim is tucked in here, and there's some others. And the reason why I'm holding these up the way they are is because these are pocket books. Small. Some of these are a little bit thinner, like Mecha Hack here. Dream Chaser I've incorporated into here. There's Index Card RPG. Flux Fall Horizon, created by Dave Falmavor, who has his own YouTube channel and does that's exclusively about doing reviews of indie RPGs. We have ourselves examples of tiny RPG. Anybody remember Easy D6? Well, this is a very simple D6 game and such. So, yeah. I don't have Mothership. Well, actually, I do have Mothership. I've got the PDF of it. Sorry. Sable says you should go over Lacuna, the creation of the mystery and the girl from the Blue City. What? I've never heard of such a thing. You guys didn't know that? Yeah, Flux Fall Horizon. Matter of fact, let me go. Let's see. Flux Fall. Let me find a link to it. So, Horizon, Dave. Here's a drive-through link. Copy this. This is the drive-through link to it. It is a Powered by the Apocalypse game based on Sliders and Quantum Leap. But yeah, he made a game. Matter of fact, let me go find. I will find the YouTube video. Let me find Dave Falmavor, and here we go. Let me share this out. I think it's hidden. Come on. There we go. And why isn't it showing up? Come on. I am such a Luddite. There we go. So it's a Powered by the Apocalypse game, and right here we've got like Flux Fall Horizon, Dave Falmavor 2 years ago, Dave Falmavor RPG reviews. Here we go. Here's a lore dump, a setting codex for Flux Fall Horizon, and what I did is I just typed in Flux Fall Horizon, and these videos came up. These are all Dave's videos. There he is. What was I thinking? So yeah. That's it. And this one even says my game design considerations for Flux Fall Horizon. So yeah, he made his own game. Sable says I like Powered by the Apocalypse games. I adore Forged in the Dark games, which couldn't exist without Powered by the Apocalypse as a jumping off point. Yep. How did I never know that Falmavor made games? I feel like I failed as a hobbyist. Yeah. I don't know. He doesn't. Well, he's like me. Maybe he's extremely terrible at promoting himself. So we'll do a Dave Falmavor one. He's very well known for doing reviews of games. I'm surprised other people didn't rip him a new one by doing a review of his own game. It's pretty fun too. We have Vast Grim. It is a far future Morkborg, derivation. We have Tiny Frontiers and Mechas and Monsters. Another the Tiny System. There's Tiny Dungeon, Mechas and Monsters, Tiny Frontiers. Is it called Tiny Spies? Yeah, Tiny Spies and Tiny Wastelands, and these are all D6. Shadows over Soul is another one. This is one that uses playing cards as its adjudication system. It's really good, pretty thick. I got a bunch of stuff for this one. Substratum Protocol uses a deck of cards and such. Yeah, we'll get back to it. Will we ever talk about Obsidian Star again? Of course we will. Which is why I want to get back to doing science fiction. We tend to lose science fiction here. Lose out on science fiction. We've got Dead Air Seasons. This is a game that was created within the halls of, what is it called? What's the online world building system? My brain just, okay. I gotta look in the book because my brain just farted. World Anvil. Damn it. World Anvil. This is Dead Air Seasons, created by the people, created from and within World Anvil, and it uses the Monad Echo system. It is an Italian game, a post-apocalyptic Italian game, and it is the Monad Echo. Many of these games also have an SRD for them, a license, and an OGL and an SRD. So yeah, Easy D6 is not the first game to use a D6, of course, and not the last. But I just use this as an example of like, hey, if you like Easy D6, there's plenty of other D6 games out there, very easy to use and such. He's talked about Vast Grimm several times in the morning. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, he sure did. So many interesting games. I love card-based RPGs. Shake things up from typical dice. No pun intended. Also, there is this is weird. I'm trying to figure out the best way to describe this. Just before we get out of here, playing cards as an adjudication system. Sometimes, actually, let me move this over. And move this over here. Yeah, yes, Drew, you absolutely need to. I can't wait to use your friction system. So using playing cards as a way to adjudicate success and failure, it seems like using playing cards instead of dice is like taking your favorite appetizer, meal, and dessert and drink and putting it in a blender and drinking it. I don't know why we as in the tabletop community haven't embraced playing cards. We've embraced D6s because you can find them anywhere, and 2D6 seems to be the minimum bell curve dice that is acceptable in the tabletop role-playing sphere. It's the lowest number of pips, the most common dice ever in the world. People understand them who've never played role-playing games, and we've accepted them. Strange we haven't done the same thing with playing cards that are just as ubiquitous as board game dice, but it seems to rub people the wrong way because both role-playing games and card games seem like they would fit together, but it brings along the idea of drinking your favorite meal through a sippy straw, right? It's like, it sounds like it should be good, but it just doesn't feel right. So we're going to talk about using playing cards and things as an adjudication system, so that as well. So Drew, get your damn game done. Please tell me the exact same thing as well. Yeah, we'll talk about all that. I was thinking we could do that next week. I have to contact the is it Tab Creations? This is by Shadows Over Soul. Is produced by, I think it's Tab Creations. Yes, Tab Creations uses the Saga engine, and yeah, 100%. The ubiquity and portability of playing cards is just as high. For cards. Yeah, I mean, you can go most places to find. If you're one of the things I did want to bring up about all these smaller books is they're carry size, they're travel sized, they're not too thick they're thick enough to be meaty with enough background in them, not too thick that you can't understand them. And many times rules light systems seem to suffer from their portability, and I'm here to say that that shouldn't be the case. And also, if you want to introduce people to science fiction and you don't want to dump 300-page books in their lap and tell them to read them, sometimes these smaller books are better to introduce someone. So they're meaty enough to use them for continued play, but deep enough, simple enough to invite players into it. So that's why I love it. Yeah, reading Hyperion gives me plenty to think about friction. I mean, for example, how would I do the cruciform? Ooh, yeah. I don't know. The cruciform is rough. If you've gotten to Hoyt, Lanier Hoyt's character, yeah. Oh man, Suede uses playing cards for multiple purposes on top of a full polyhedral set. I love Suede. Suede, what does that stand for? Hold on. What is? I can't think of it. I'm gonna try to find it before you do. Before you put it in there. Savage Worlds. Yes. Savage. Yeah. Savage Worlds. Okay. I should include that too, because technically, if I have Dream Chaser, Savage Worlds Adventure Edition, and which I have, I literally could walk away and bring it back here. So I will include that as well. So guys, thank you very much for being part of the show. I really love it. Thank you very much for letting me extend the show out a little bit further than I normally do. No, technically this is the norm. Sorry, too late. Yeah. Oh, funny. Oh man. Anyway, thank you very much as well. I hope in return for you spending your time here, I in turn can return to you some change in your tabletop and, well, life living experiences. So thank you very much for being part of the show. I really appreciate it. Thank all of you out there who may have stopped by or whatever. Please spread the word for the show if you don't mind. I would like that to sit. Oh, just finished Hoyt's chapter last night. Sorry, for those who don't know about the beauty of Hyperion, the cantos that it incorporates, it is Dan Simmons pulls you into these stories so deeply. It is amazing. Dan Simmons has had a very difficult time replicating his writing after doing Hyperion. It's unfortunate because he caught lightning in a bottle with the Hyperion and Hyperion Cantos thing. I've got my novels in the back. Endymion. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Any of you who are hardcore novelists should do, and you love science fiction and fantasy, do yourself a favor and read Dan Simmons' Hyperion. When did it come in? Let's see. Damn it, Amazon. 1989. First book of his Hyperion Cantos series. It won the Hugo Award for Best Novel. The plot of the novel features multiple timelines and characters. It follows a similar structure to the Canterbury Tales by Geoffrey Chaucer. Yeah. It is highly rated. Highly rated. And there are plenty of people on YouTube that have done analyses and read-throughs and now, oh man. It is brilliant. Brilliantly made. And of course it won a Hugo Award because of it. So anyway, yes, it's basically Canterbury Tales in space. Yep. Yeah, yes, I still haven't read that series yet. As a sci-fi fan, I know that's inexcusable. It happens. Listen, I've got huge gaps in my geekdom. Huge gaps, especially when it comes to like video video games, and a lot of televised series. Huge gaps. Drew says I had so high expectations and am not disappointed so far. Yep, Quinn's Ideas, another of my favorites. Talks about the Hyperion Cantos in some of his videos. Great analysis. Yeah, and Quinn's Ideas had been the main reason why I wanted to read that for a long time. Absolutely, and Quinn goes deep, and because Quinn has those long analyses of various series. He pulled me in a long time ago with like a Lovecraft series he was doing, and yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You guys back to back, yeah, with the same, yeah, it's on the same page, yeah. So anyway, you guys got to go. All of you have to go. So I will see you later. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day. Please enjoy yourselves. Thank you very much for blessing me and mine here. Thank you so much, guys. Have a great one. I'll see you later. Bye. I'll take you out with some colorful things. Bye.